The reticulated python, the longest snake on Earth. Of course you've heard of them, but did you know that there's smaller variants known as super dwarf reticulated pythons that are found on smaller islands? Well, today we got my good friend Jesse of Front Range Exotics, who's going to teach us all about super dwarfed reticulated pythons and much more. Now in the description will be linked his Instagram page as well as his Morph Market page. Right now what he has available is lots of different types of isopods and a few different species of scorpion. So be sure to go check him out and give him a follow on Instagram. But the first thing you should know about Jesse is he loves Annie, the banded-snouted cobra. But where did his love of snakes begin?
So reptiles have always been a big part of my life. As long as I can remember, I've always had a snake, frog, turtle, snakes, frogs. And the first snake I ever owned, I was about 3 years old. I caught a milk snake and escaped from my little makeshift enclosure not too long after. But my first snake that I really kept was a garter snake. There really hasn't been much time in my life that I didn't have at least one snake. The happiest moments of my life, I've had snakes with me, and the less happy times of my life, I did not have snakes with me. This is my female super dwarf reticulated python, Khaleesi. She is a 25% Kalatoa locality and 25% Kayawati locality. The specific localities refer to the islands of Indonesia from which these snakes originate. The Kalatoa island refers to the reticulated pythons that have been trapped there and have evolved to adapt to the limited resources there. Same thing with Kayawati, Sulawesi, Madu, and the snakes vary from size to size of the islands. Now, it's not an exact science how long they get or how large they become, but it's pretty safe to say the higher super dwarf locality tends to result in a smaller python. So with her being 50% super dwarf, the 25% Kalatoa and 25% Kayawati, she is a lot smaller than what you would expect a mainland retic to be. Females can be well over 20 feet. She's going to be bred this coming year, and as you can tell, very manageable for a breedable female reticulated python. Her needs for enclosure size, resources, etc. are much smaller than would be a large female reticulated python. She is a motley, which indicates the broken up top pattern here. She is an anery, which accentuates the green. It removes all red color from the animal. She's a tiger, which accentuates the yellow. So she's an anery motley tiger. She is a wonderful snake, sweet disposition, and an absolute joy to have around.
Wow, not only did we learn the difference between the mainland, which is the ones I typically think of, the mainland reticulated pythons, the massive ones, and the difference between those and the dwarf reticulated pythons on the different islands, we learned a little bit about different morphs. And morphs are genetic mutations such as albino, like this albino monocle cobra here. And I always mention it, I don't know anything about morphs besides the simple ones like albino and melanistic, but I wonder if Jesse has an albino dwarf reticulated python.
This is Tommy Lee. He is also he is a dwarf reticulated python, and I specifically say dwarf because these super dwarf localities do not quite add up to 50%. He's about 47.5%. He is a male. He will be bred to Khaleesi, who you just saw this coming fall. He is 37.5% Kalatoa and 6.75% Kayawati, so just under 50% there. He is almost at breedable age. As you can tell, he is much smaller than would be a mainland reticulated python at the same age. He's starting to go into blue. His albino color kind of hides that a little bit, but there's a little bit of cloudiness in his eyes. He also has a wonderful disposition. I have his full sister as well. He is a super motley, which shows there's no pattern up here, complete wash of that top pattern. He's an albino. He is a tiger, which accentuates that yellow. He also is possibly anery and golden child. It's quite an incredible combination of genes, especially to be mixed with an anery motley tiger. He has a beautiful yellow head, and then his body fades to a cream color, which is very similar to a monocle cobra in albino. You can also possibly see some of the yellow blotches on him, just some beautiful markings. Again, he is a beautiful snake, a beautiful personality, very calm, and I'm really looking forward to what both he and Khaleesi will produce. Tommy Lee, everybody.
Did you see Tommy Lee, Lila? Wow. Incredible. Now, it's no secret, reptiles aren't that loved by most people. So this next question is one that I always found fascinating. I don't know if anyone else does, but about family. Growing up, how did they feel towards reptiles? And also, Lila here is a monocle cobra, but a wild type. So unlike the albino monocle cobra that I had out before, it's not a morph, not a mutation. This is a wild type looking monocle cobra. I'm curious what a wild type reticulated python looks like. From what I can recall, they are extremely beautiful. But let's see if Jesse has one.
So I've really been the reptile keeper of my family. Is pretty typical with dogs, some cats, but really I'm the animal lover. Not only with reptiles, but also with horses. This is my first super dwarf reticulated python. He is actually a little bit older than the male you just saw, Tommy Lee. This is Jude. He is 67.5% Calatoa and 6.75% Jampea. So he's in the 70 percentile of localities. As you can tell, it might be hard to tell here, but he's a little bit smaller. Now, he is a wild type, and you can tell that's the pattern that you would find in a reticulated python typically in the wild. He is 100% het for anery and 100% het for albino. He's a fun guy. He's a little less curious and social than the others, but still very gentle and very easygoing personality. I have a breeding goal of him and Tommy Lee's full sister. Her name is Jemmy, and I'll bring her out in a few. I keep them in these tubs. They're about 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot, which is plenty for them now. They're in bioactive enclosures. They eat great. They have great sheds, and I've found it to be very helpful. One other thing about reticulated pythons, as well with any other snake, in addition to the locality, the specific genes of the parents will indicate or help contribute to the size that they reach. So smaller parents usually indicate smaller offspring. Just like humans, there's some 6'5" people and there's some 5 foot people. So some snakes have the ability to reach much larger potential and some far smaller potential. This is Jude.
Now, one of the first times Jesse and I talked, it was talking about like hook practice with non-venomous snakes or non-medically significant venomous snake, like some of the rear fang venomous snakes. So I told him to send me some videos over of him using a hook, and I'd give some suggestions and whatnot. But there was one snake that he had mentioned that he would love to work with, one of the dream species. And that dream snake of his is similar to this rink owl's here, where this snake hoods up like a true cobra, also spits venom like a true spitting cobra. But true cobras belong in the genus Naja. These are in their own monotypic genus, Hemachatus. The snake that he was talking about, also cobra-like, but not a front-fanged elapid like this, but a rear-fanged colubrid. Let's see if he got that dream snake. What do you say? Let's see.
This is my false water cobra, Pistol Annie, named after the beautiful Annie. She is a false water cobra, which gets their name from their ability to flatten their neck, very similar to a cobra when threatened or excited. She'll very often flatten her neck when she is about to eat, as I've seen the original Annie do. I love her bands. She is an absolute dream snake of mine. She is a colubrid, not a nausea. Similar to how ringcalfs are commonly considered cobras, but they are not, in fact, the genus of nausea. Same with king cobras. She has the ability to reach about 7 feet. She is very commonly found basking in her or floating in her water feature. I do have plans for a much larger enclosure as she grows, to include about a third or half the enclosure to be water. She eats very well. They are very intelligent snakes. I think very rewarding to keep. She has a beautiful black band on her eye, which is one of my favorite things about this species. Their head looks almost similar to a cobra, a nausea cobra. She does have a beautiful marking on her hood section there. There's a little bit of flattening, just as a nausea would do. If you rub there, she'll flatten out a little bit. She has never tried to bite me. I've always been very gentle with her. She seems to be very intelligent in that she recognizes me handling her. She recognizes food and just her curiosity and level of intuition. She's a joy to hold. She'll just sit here on my hand. She's also a snake that I practice my hook skills with. She's very patient with that. I probably make more mistakes than she does, and she's very forgiving. So it's very easy to overlook the comfort level of knowing that she's not going to, one bite or two deliver a potentially medically significant bite. But she is certainly a snake that I love, a snake that's a pet to me, and one that I've really been searching high and low for, and kind of been on a journey to acquire, and here she is. Pistol Annie.
How incredible is that false water cobra? Pistol Annie. And I'm curious if Tommy Lee's sister is as beautiful as him. Maybe it might be as golden as this eyelash viper. Let's see.
This beautiful girl here is Jemmy. She has a much more orange color than her brother Tommy Lee. She is also a dwarf reticulated python. Females, as they are larger, she is larger than her brother Tommy Lee. Again, 37.5% Kalatoa and 6.75% Kiawati, so just under that 50% mark. I do have plans for her to breed with Jude, and I'm very excited to see what they will produce. She has a wonderful disposition, absolutely wonderful. She's my wife and my daughter's one of my favorite snakes. She is a lavender albino motley. As you can see, there's still a little bit of a pattern here, and a golden child. So some very exciting genes with her. She is very curious, very sweet, and very happy snake, and I'm very fortunate to have her.
Amazing, as gold as it gets. And we learned a lot about Jesse and the breeding projects he has planned for the super dwarf reticulated pythons. But Jesse also has some other amazing snakes with future breeding plans as well. Let's check out some of those. This right here is the Indo-Chinese spitting cobra, also known as a black and white spitting cobra. I think Jesse has a black and white snake, but let's see.
This is my baby Musarana. She is a pied. She has, the species has been an incredible find that's not too common in the hobby, but pretty well known amongst hobbyists and enthusiasts. The Musarana is a species that is found in South and Central America. They are a colubrid. They have extreme jaw pressure, similar to the indigo. They are rear fang venomous, with a toxin that's really focused on reptiles and snakes, similar to the false water cobra, but they also constrict like the king snake. In the wild, their main prey is the fertilance viper, and really any other snake. They know to eat rattlesnakes, bushmasters, boas. They get to be about 7 feet long, so they're a decent predator for most snakes when they're that size. They are immune to all viper venom. They're not immune to coral snake or lapid venom. They are a very smart species. They really don't. They really don't have a defensive tendency towards humans. They really don't bite humans. There's only a couple recorded bites, and it's usually someone doing something that is really a shortcut to keeping, like they are feeding a pinky mouse, for example, with their fingers, and their snake misses and hits them instead. Their rear fangs are a groove-like fangs similar to the false water cobra and boomslang. They don't have the more efficient delivery system such as the vipers and the lapids. This is another breeding project I'm hoping to get into and plan to in the next couple of years. This is my female pied. She's my youngest, and then I'll be showing you my larger female here in a few. They have been a very rewarding snake to keep. They do great in bioactive enclosures. They're more tropical, so a enclosure with more plants and humidity is great for them. They are a species I hope to get more popular, and have been very rewarding.
I think it's about time I show y'all some rear fang snakes. The beautiful western hognose snakes, Leo and Hamilton. Wow. But I wonder what a normal wild type looking Musarana looks like. I always have trouble saying that, but let's see if Jesse has one of those. Wild type Musarana.
So this is my larger female Musarana. She's still not full grown. Her name is Beatrix. She is the snake I've had in my current collection for the longest. You can see kind of her red there, but this is the wild type. This is what they look like in the wild. They are definitely snake eaters, and they have kind of been known to have trouble taking on your typical meals like frozen thawed rodents and quail. However, I've had no problems with either frozen thawed mice, rats, quail. She's done absolutely wonderful with reptilinks, and so you can do more of an amphibian-based reptilink, quail-based reptilink. But she is going to be the first snake from my to breed for my Musarana clutch. Really looking forward to that. They have a great disposition. They're very smart. I really do feel like they will recognize your scent as, not a predator and not prey. It's very interesting in South America. They will actually, the farmers will actually catch Musaranas, and they will let them go on their land or relocate them to their farms so that these guys can prey upon the rattlesnakes and the fertilances that are pretty common in their fields. It's a very unique symbiotic relationship. They are a beautiful species. If you look closely, there's almost a similarity between them and indigos. However, indigos are not rear fang venomous, and indigos do not constrict their prey either. These guys do both. They are very, very prey driven. They will chase their prey down. It's pretty exciting feeding them because you get to watch them come out of their cage, grab their prey, wrap it up, and then just chomp, 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 and just gulp it right down. They're They're beautiful species, a beautiful snake, very rewarding, very interactive. They are primarily nocturnal, so in the evenings you'll see them out more. They do like to climb, they like to hide, they like to inspect and investigate. They're very curious, which tends to be pretty common with some of the king type snakes. So musaranas, indigos, king cobras, crates, species like that.
How incredible are the musaranas? I love the pied one. Very beautiful. And very interesting facts about farmers relocating them on their property to eat the other snakes. We hear about that here in the United States with king snakes. People do that with king snakes as well. But such an incredible species for sure, and two beautiful ones that Jesse has. Now this right here is a Chinese cobra, the male. Now as I mentioned, the first time Jesse and I talked was about practicing with a hook. One thing I've always mentioned is king snakes, black racers, those types of snakes, very good for practicing for cobra handling using a hook because their behavior is very similar. The body movements, the twists and turns that I use to make the cobras fall back down instead of climb up on their body work perfectly with racers, king snakes. But I'm curious if Jesse does have a king snake and if he practices hook technique with that one.
This snake here is Ophelia. She is a Mexican black king snake. I thought I might try my hand at some hook work with my broken hook. That might not be the best idea, but anyways, she is one snake that I also practice a lot of hook work with. I've had her since she was a very small little baby. As you can see, she's grown quite a bit. She was feisty at first and took a lot of gentle handling and patience with this girl. She would musk on me. She never really tried to bite me, but would really musk and hide. And I kind of made the mistake of having such an intricate enclosure for her that it was very difficult to catch her sometimes. But now she's very easy to catch. The Mexican black king snake has a beautiful blue body, an absolute jet black top. Their iridescence is amazing, and they often have a little white chin. She's making it difficult to see, but there you can kind of see it there. But a very intelligent snake, king snake. I've always wanted a king snake. Colubrids have always been a fascination of mine. Venomous, unfortunately, is not really an option for me, so I do what I can. I do also keep a wide variety of scorpions, both for trade and sale, as well as breeding. But the snakes really are my passion. So this is Ophelia, the Mexican black king snake. Very rewarding species as well. Very good to practice hook handling with.
How incredible. Mexican black king snake has that white on the face similar to BeiBei, the black Pakistan cobra. What better way to end off this amazing video with Jesse's favorite, Annie, the banded snouted cobra. But that broken hook, we're going to have to fix that. I'll have to send one to Jesse. Now everyone, I hope you enjoyed this, and big thank you to Jesse for sharing with us some of his breeding goals and amazing animals. The main thing that I ask is to just click the description, check the links, go follow Jesse on Instagram, and if you're interested in any of the scorpions or isopods he has available, check his Morph Market link as well. And when he gets to breeding the Retics and the musaranas, hopefully, those will be available too. But Jesse is an amazing person. I'm so grateful for all the amazing people I've met on here. But look at Annie being cooperative. She's always very sweet, but look at her sitting still like a statue. Awesome. But I love y'all. Click subscribe, click like. Big shout out to my channel members. If you want to support my channel, become a channel member. Get early access to videos, exclusive videos, things like that. Also want to give a shout out to my Patreon members. If you want to support me over there, you also get early access and exclusive content there too. And a big shout out to those that donate in other ways. But I love y'all. Go check Jesse out. You won't be disappointed. Great person, great animals. What better than that? What better than that? What's better than that? Nothing.